This is some all-time great posting from these verified accounts. I'm here for it. I think it's good for the space. I think it's absolutely hysterical. And
This is a win. This is a win for Looks Rare at the end of the day. Like Looks Rare, just this meme, just
This single image just kind of encapsulates each one of their cultures, just like right there. And it's just like the easiest way. If you want to figure out like what they're about, just look at this single tweet thread.
what's up, guys? It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It is another episode of Exit Liquidity with the Degens from Alpha Mint. We have Drip Cult coming live from Idaho. How the potatoes doing these days?
delicious.
Amazing. And from an undisclosed safe room, who knows where he is, Dirty Milk on the run. What's going on, dude?
What's up, fam? Just got my ghetto rig in a hotel room right now.
It looks good, man. And I love the wallpaper, as I mentioned. And yes, of course, this is episode 3 of Exit Liquidity. Super pumped to be up here with you guys. It seems like the amount of news and things happening, not only in crypto, not only in NFTs, but Web3, however you want to define that, seems to be endless these days. And that's pretty good, right? We always talk about this space being attention driven, and there are lots of things to pay attention to. So I'm really excited to get back into this with you guys, right? Biggest thing right now going on is ETH this morning crossed over $1,900. Nothing wrong with that. I'm feeling pretty good. That doesn't mean that, you know, the bottom is behind us and it can't go back down. It seems to be taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back these days. And again, like, people are just feeling a little bit reinvigorated, a little bit more excited to log in, to look at stuff. How are you guys feeling since the last time we did this?
I'm feeling good. I miss some of the real cooks out there, but you know, I'm just glad the market's got some health in it. Vibes are good. People are
Yeah,
smiling.
feels like Degen season's back.
Degen season is absolutely back, and that's actually a pretty good segue into the first segment that we're going to be talking about, because NFTs over the last week have seen a little bit of an influx in volume. Overall, the whole market isn't exactly crushing it like it used to be. A lot of those projects that have already gone on to mint out and sit there, not a ton of excitement and volume around there, but some free mints absolutely killing it. There's some projects that are actually charging a little bit for their mints that seem to be getting some momentum, getting some traction. And, you know, that's just exciting for everyone, especially the NFT traders that have been trading amongst themselves. A couple of big opportunities for some real profits in this space too. I got to shout out Clampy again from Alpha Mint for dropping that Digi Daigaku. I think I finally learned how to say that properly a couple days ago. I think it was on Tuesday. Free mint, 2,000 supply, and all of a sudden, you know, for about $20 in gas, within an hour, it had ripped up to zero point 0.8 ETH. That's where I exited on the one that I had, and I'm feeling a little bit of cope because I've participated in these free mints, and I'm like, whenever it gets to these points and it kind of tops out and you start to see the volume dying, it gets a little dodgy. A lot of these projects end up going to zero anyway, so you take the profits when you can. I feel good about that, but man, Digi Daigaku killing it. It is actually at a 1.9 ETH floor right now, and that's with ETH going on a run. So these things are valued at what, almost $4,000 a pop. It did cross over 2 ETH. The volume's been all right on it, and it's just killing it. There just seems to be something about this project, along with the founders, who, you know, have a background in gaming. Mobile Strike, and what was the other one? I mean, they had Kate Upton in their ads. Like, this is actually kind of a big deal,
I
right?
spent some money on that. Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. Kate Upton, not too hard on the eyes either. But, you know, 8 liens, I guess I'm saying that right. zero point 0.6 ETH floor. Rare Apepes is just crushing it as well. These things are actually getting some legs behind them too, right? So I don't know. Have you guys been jumping into the Degen mint meta that's kind of bringing NFTs back to life? Are you doing well with it? What's the game plan here?
I had 11 of those rare Pepes at one point, but did not ride them till now. That's for sure. So I'm
Sitting
a
at a
little
cool
upset, but
0.73 floor. You didn't ride it up to that.
I think I sold 9. I think like between 0.03 and
Ooh.
0.045, and then they just ripped.
This segment of
But it's
Down
all
Bad
good,
brought
you
to you
know.
by Dirty Milk. Yeah. No,
Hey, I had 0, so you still beat me. So don't
as
beat
I
me.
mentioned though,
Yeah.
right? Like the free mint degen meta that we've seen is ruthless, right? The fact that some of these even get up to 0.0405 is opportunity to take some pretty good profits, but you're really just spinning the roulette wheel trying to figure out which ones are actually going to go to the distance upwards of, 0.75, 1 ETH, 2 ETH as well. Drip, have you managed to get in on any of these, or as you're just sitting on the sidelines?
I've missed the last couple that run in the last day or two. I haven't been doing too much crazy degen plays. I know there's definitely some calls in Alpha Mint, but I just haven't been following as close. I think now I'm gonna have to, with ETH being back, sentiment being back, people, degen season back. I think it'd be irresponsible for me not to. I mean, I got a little ETH to play with. I'm okay, throwing a little. I mean, if it's free, obviously, but I'm okay with throwing a little ETH at these projects, see if they can run. I mean, shoot, if they can do anything that, what is it, Aliens or Daigaku, Digi Daigaku, and
Yep.
all those, like,
Shell's doing all right too.
yeah, Shells had a little run yesterday. They're a little back down now, but hey, I mean, I'll take anything. I'm not picky. I'm not picky with profits.
Yeah, in one of the things that I'm actually interested in seeing too, because doing the morning show and talking about these projects every single day, the mint process, the price, and then getting towards the reveal, is that Digidaigaku a not an instant reveal. Like, there's still going to be a reveal process for this,
Yeah.
and very excited to see what pops out of them, seeing where that project's going, and seeing if maybe, despite the fact that this was a free mint, it kind of just gets the cycle back on track, really, right? Like, there is a lot of opportunity for this to start pointing things in the right direction. So who knows where
Almost forgot about Webiverse Genesis Pass 2. This had a nice run up as well.
Yeah, that's, I mean, an interesting topic in and of itself. Some speculation that they were sweeping the floor of them. Dirty Milk, correct me if I'm wrong, because I wasn't up on Webiverse. They actually had a mint price, correct? And then it fell below the mint price on secondary for the public sale, so they were trying to prop that back up. Is that what happened?
I'm actually not 100% sure either on if that was the case. I just know that it had come to light that there was like project um, kind of project fueled wallets that were sweeping like up to 15% of the project, which is alarming. I mean, that, in my opinion, it dropping below mint price would be kind of one of the catalysts for them to start doing that. But it's just, that seemed odd. And I don't think it was something they were super open about.
Yeah, and I think that that's the biggest thing about the whole situation in that regard, is that if the project is being open and transparent about what they're doing, and it's not particularly like floor price manipulation to try and get it back up, like after the public mint goes live, it mints out and whatnot. If the project starts picking up a couple off the floor for their own intentions, whether it's community giveaways or just kind of building up that wallet so you can use them for marketing purposes, I don't see that being an issue. Is just basically as long as you're transparent about it. But 15% of your project is a big deal. Like, you got to know what they're doing with it. Are they going to burn that? Is that reducing the supply? They're clearly spending their own money to do so, if that's actually what is happening. But again, the NFT space, not without its shenanigans going on. So it's going to be interesting to watch Webiverse as well. But they're all doing really well in terms of volume. I mean, Webiverse is one of the lower ones on that, and they did 230 ETH in volume in the last 24 hours, all the way up to, Aliens doing over 2K of ETH. So some real money flowing through the ecosystem again. And I, again, just think there's a lot to be excited about in terms of NFTs. They're not dead.
No, they're definitely not dead. And real quick, shout out to Pac-Man and the Blur team. They gave Alpha Mint members access to the beta. So if you are an Alpha Mint member, you have access. Just hop into the Discord, find the support channel, and drop your wallet address in there. We'll get you whitelisted, and you'll get access. This isn't going to go public until Pac-Man said Q4. So it's basically NFT nerds times 10, in my opinion. You can come into any collection. You can buy right
Yeah.
away. You can see all the action and volume that's happening. You can buy this one. What was it? I think it was here. They even have like a stolen or suspicious on OpenSea flag for you. So there's all kinds of fun stuff. There's a lot in this tool. You'll definitely want to spend some time and get familiar with it. If you have any questions, Pac-Man is offering support in our Discord as well. So feel free to tag him in any question you want. and definitely check it out. Yeah, again, if you're an alpha member, you have access to the beta. Just go in there, drop your wallet, we'll get you going.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and watching you kind of use it while we're on the camera here, it looks good. I'm gonna have to use it for my own Degen devices pretty soon, because any kind of information and knowledge that you have about these mints and the sales and the volume and where things are being listed, it's very powerful in terms of
Absolutely. And
trading.
I like briefly went over what it can do. There's so much to do. We could probably do a whole episode on it. I don't think we will, but I'm just
Maybe.
saying, like, definitely get in there and spend some time learning about it. Cause again, I briefly touched on what it's capable of.
Yeah, you also mentioned the OpenSea flagging it as a stolen item thing. That's going to be a topic that we're bringing up a little bit later in the show. For the
Absolutely.
next conversation that we have, though, is one of the bigger news coming out of the crypto world is that the feds have blacklisted Tornado Cash, banning the Ethereum mixing tool in the US. The US Treasury Department, and I'm reading this off a Decrypt article, so don't take it as my words. The US Treasury Department put Ethereum mixing service on the specially designated nationals list today. The US Department of the Treasury using some very strong verbiage in their description of Tornado Cash, calling it notorious. Obviously, Tornado Cash has been under scrutiny for a lot of money laundering, suspicions of funding terrorism, blah, 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 blah. Also, a lot of implications in tax evasion, which we know the U.S. particularly is not only doubling down, but tripling and quadrupling down in terms of their ability to audit and recuperate a lot of tax evaded funds. Tornado Cash not doing very well right now. There's a huge discussion on what this means for crypto, what this means for privacy. Vitalik actually came out in support of Tornado Cash, saying, I did use it to donate money to Ukraine. That opened up a huge, interesting discussion about should you be able to privately donate things. Of course, these notable personalities in the space, obviously they have lots of funds at their disposal, but they're also very public and very important people. And he was basically saying it doesn't matter if the country that I'm in supports Ukraine and is actively supporting them. I want to be able to support them as an individual, and I don't want it to be public knowledge, right? It doesn't matter if you feel like you're in a safe place. You don't need people to know. This wasn't a publicity stunt for Vitalik. It was just, I feel like I want to help and I want to do so anonymously. There was also some shenanigans going on. An anonymous troll started dusting hundreds of well-known public wallets, including Jimmy Fallon, Logan Paul, Steve Aoki, and basically just proving you can ban this all you want. You can start to try and audit it and figure out where all these funds are going, but it is very easy to make your life difficult. And now, what are they going to do? They're going to go after Logan Paul for using Tornado Cash. They're going to go after Steve Aoki. They're going to say, well, it wasn't me, but how does the Fed know that? So there's a lot of interesting discussions. I'm the resident Canadian in this group. You two are Americans. Despite our close geographical proximity, oftentimes we have different ideas on, government's role and involvement and privacy and freedom and all of that stuff. How is this sitting with you guys right now?
I think with just the press release from the actual website, calling it the notorious virtual currency mixer, kind of sets the tone on like what they're trying to do, in my opinion. It's I'm a big advocate of privacy. And once you lose privacy, you're not going to get it back. And I understand there are, you can use Tornado Cash for nefarious purposes if you want, but at the same time, a lot of people just use it just to get a little privacy back. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I mean, it is inevitable if we ever want regulation or any kind of, actual, government involvement in digital currencies. Like, it's going to come like this, and that's how they're going to do it. They're going to want to control it in their own way. How that looks, I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to look very much like this, where they can see and track everything you do, because why not, but I don't know. I do find this Tornado Cash getting dusted on wallets hysterical. I mean, it's a classic. Like, are these people going to get in any trouble for that? Like, of course not. But now, the government has to potentially spend time and resources, and it's just an ultimate troll by whoever did this.
Yeah, Dirty, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'll probably piggyback off that. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling the same way. I'm not I mean, I don't want to say I'm less inclined about security because obviously I care about security. I've never been inclined to use something like Tornado, I guess is where I'm coming from. I think, kind of like what Drip said, as far as regulations, some stuff like this may need to happen, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really funny that somebody's just washing these wallets and sending them to these guys to, I'm curious of what happens with that. But for me, I haven't gotten to the point in my life where I've needed to do something like use Tornado, but I understand kind of the implications of everything for sure.
Yeah, to me, this is less of a privacy play and more of just like making it difficult for people to do like the tax evade. Like, I mean, it's been a huge topic of discussion with hiring 87,000 new IRS agents to audit the middle class and trying to go after some of the money that they feel that they need back. Obviously, there's been a lot of printing of money, a lot of spending of money, and now it's time to kind of pull funds back out of the system, and that a lot of that goes into the taxes that happen. But I just, I can't help but think that this isn't as nefarious. Like, regulation is coming. I don't like that they're not using neutral terms in their discussion, in their press releases and whatnot. I think that that's they're painting their own picture that the media is more than happy to do for them. So they should just leave that to the medium, or sorry, the media. But I think that we need some regulation. I just don't know how far it goes. Like, the privacy thing is obviously a very important backbone of crypto and why people go in to use it. And it's a weird conversation to have in North America because we're so used to having all of these rights and all of these freedoms and whatnot. But for people in more difficult countries with like dictatorships and whatnot, these are really important tools. And obviously this is a US based thing, so doesn't mean that they're going to stop using them, but obviously people follow suit with what the US is doing. And if you're in a war torn country, you're trying to flee, you're trying to emigrate from a country, this could be a really valuable tool in getting your funds to a safe spot and helping your life dramatically. So I'm hoping that eventually this is one of those first steps where they take a very, very far stance and then start to kind of find some happy middle ground towards what it can and can't be used for. Like, maybe it's just as simple as like you can privately disclose that you use Tornado Cash, but not publicly. Then you have the conversation of where's that information going. It's an incredibly nuanced discussion, but I think it's a lot of people are pretty upset with it right now. But
It's in my opinion, it's the first domino of many. I mean, they'll try to go after there's a couple other wallets that do the same exact thing. Like, they will probably try to go after them, but I mean, like, the government, they're not going to be able to ban everything. It's just never going to be possible or feasible in this space. Like, they'll sure as hell try, and like, who knows? Maybe the next headline will be like, anyone that holds Monero is a public enemy and a terrorist in the United States. I don't know, but like, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, they're willing to go, they're going to definitely try to ban more. And the other implication of it, which I think is kind of scary in my opinion, is this article: Circle freezes blacklisted Tornado Cash smart contract addresses. And this article goes on to say, they froze $75,000 worth of USDC in 44 different Tornado Cash addresses. And that's where it's kind of scary to me, because like, if I'm holding assets, or if I'm holding assets that I didn't know were going to get banned, like, now my assets are just frozen. Like, I didn't technically do anything wrong at the time, but now I'm punished for it. So do I ever have a chance of getting those assets back? Am I just screwed? Like, where does this go? Because like, I have a feeling it's probably not going to be something where you're like, oh, our bad, here's your money back. Like, I highly doubt that's going to be the case.
yeah, we saw a lot of this in Canada not too long ago with the whole trucker rally too. They were accepting donations in Bitcoin and Ethereum. The government put a lot of pressure on some of these exchanges to find the wallets that were associated with it and freeze everyone's. So we are in that really interesting state where the government is trying to figure out how best to handle this stuff because they've never really seen anything like it, despite the fact that it's now existed for a dozen years. It's just how easily accessible and how many people are using it now, I think, is really starting to confuse them. But I'm also a big supporter of the whole, you have three ways to vote: vote with your money, vote with your ballot, and vote with your feet. And I do think that there is a shitload of incentive for the government to actually start to regulate on this stuff favorably, just because of the wealth creation that has happened, particularly with a younger demographic that has gotten into crypto early. We've seen people time and time again for a $10,000 investment in ETH on the ICO, or $1,000 in Bitcoin back in 2009, 2010, turn into not only millions but hundreds of millions, if not billions. And that class of people are now quite prolific and quite powerful in terms of their spending and their political kind of sway, right? These are not people that the government wants to piss off, if only for the fact that, if they push hard enough, they'll just leave, and they can't freeze their funds. They can't hold back, the money within the ecosystem. If they want to go to another country that ends up being very, very favorable and very pro crypto, they can actually just do that. Because when you're talking about thousands of dollars, maybe you wouldn't leave the country. But when you're talking about a wealth that you have created and grown of upwards of 9-10 figures, like, you're not leaving that behind, right? Just if the US government all of a sudden really, really, really starts looking bearishly at crypto, they're just going to leave. And that's a lot of money that they're going to take with them. So I do think that this is more of just like an optics kind of threat that they're doing. Like, hey, you want to mess around with this stuff, you better make sure you know what you're doing, or we're gonna punish you. So
Agreed.
interesting topic. Definitely won't be the last time it comes up. There will be more coming out, but I do think that you'll start to see a shift into it being a little bit more favorable than this very very specific targeted language that they used in their press release. We mentioned earlier about OpenSea flagging and doing the stolen assets thing. They actually did finally release a thread, and this is probably the most transparent and well thought out thing that OpenSea has ever put on Twitter. We've criticized them so much in the past for their response. People would be like, "Where's OpenSea support? Like, what's going on at OpenSea? They messed this up, they screwed that up," and then OpenSea will try and do the Wendy's thing, which I know Dirty Milk loves, and just like almost troll them with just like an upside down smiley face emoji or something like that, which then pisses people off even more. They finally addressed this. I'm assuming this was in the wake of the whole Franklin, his stolen apes, them getting flagged, and then the OpenSea head of whatever it was responding directly. Now
Head
everybody
of integrity.
head of marketplace integrity. That's right.
Yeah, marketplace integrity.
Yes. And everyone was like, "Wait, so I got to own 50 apes to get an answer from you guys when my ticket's been open for a month, 2 months, 6 months?" Caused the domino effect of all of this stuff, and finally they came out with this. They want to address the elephant in the room and provide more clarity and transparency around their stolen items policy. We're in this together as we work to make our users safer. It's on us to keep you in the know. So why do we have this policy? This is something I didn't realize, but it is interesting. It is against U.S. law to knowingly allow the sale and transfer of stolen items. We do not want to incentivize theft by allowing our platform to be used to help sell stolen items. Now, this is obviously an American-based company. This is a company that is often thought to be going public relatively soon. One of the reasons why we're certain they haven't done any kind of coin or anything, right? One of the reasons why they likely aren't reducing their 2.5% fee. Investors love seeing those big numbers and those big fat margins being generated, right? And it's pretty hard to walk back on that in the face of it when you have investment, when you launch seed rounds and you want to go public. So now we're getting a little bit of insight into why they have this policy, but they also started to make some adjustments in it. I got to find which number it was. In some cases, the purchaser, this is number 5, who unknowingly bought a stolen item was inadvertently penalized. This is one of the most difficult issues we face. Please believe we take it seriously and we've been actively listening to feedback. Based on your input, we've already made the call to adjust elements of how we implement our policy. First, we're expanding the ways we use police reports. We've always used them for escalated disputes, but now they'll be used to confirm all theft reports. For all reports going forward, if we don't receive a police report within 7 days, we'll re-enable buying and selling for the reported item. This change will help prevent false reports, one of the big criticisms that they have. We think this is a good first step, and we're grateful for the community suggestion. Second, we're making it easier for users who reported an item stolen to re-enable buying and selling when they recover the item or determine that they should withdraw their stolen item report. For example, we're finalizing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't really realize that, the police reports are important. This still gets into a big conversation about that privacy. Like, does the user of an anonymous or pseudonymous account have any recourse because they don't want to file a public report, which will then tie them to that wallet? But I guess it's starting to make a lot more sense.
Dude, it's actually kind of wild to me. Like, I've never thought about reporting, like going like a police report, like reporting to police that like my
I haven't
NFT
either.
was stolen. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've never had a 5 or 6 figure NFT stolen. So maybe I would then, but that's never ever crossed my mind. So when I read this and when you're reading that out loud, I was kind of like, huh, that is an option. Like in
Yeah.
this space, I've learned like if you lose, you lose, and like that's that. Like,
I totally agree with that. I would love to be a fly on the wall for like that police report being made and
oh,
just
right,
hearing,
absolutely.
because I'm
Yeah.
just like, there's no way that I just feel like most, at least right now, like those police reports, like that police
Yeah.
department is probably going to be the first time they're getting something like that about
Can,
NFTs, and they're
can
just
you
curious on how that
describe
process
the
goes.
crypto dick butt to me?
Yeah.
And how much did you say this crypto dick butt was worth?
Oh my
I
gosh,
can imagine, yeah, the
that's
police
so
like,
good.
so
Yeah.
someone stole your image?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like
Well, just right click
can't
and save it. Screenshot it. You got
They're
to.
like,
Yeah.
they're trying to pronounce Digitaku or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh
what?
boy, man,
Yeah.
I had enough of a hard time with that one. I actually had to
That's so
YouTube
funny.
like somebody saying Daigaku, and I'm still not saying it right. Like they put like some serious flair on it. But yeah, I mean, we often joke about going to your accountant and being like, "Yeah, my rare Pepes that I sold for $20,000 and all of this stuff." But the police reporting is a whole nother layer to this. Uh, this this kind of it was actually a pretty good thread by OpenSea, and again, if you take it within the context that this is a company aiming to go public, you kind of got to just roll with the punches. There are tons of other options. OpenSea, we've said that time and time again, like Magic Eden, who is going after OpenSea full force. We obviously mentioned that they are opening up their marketplace to Ethereum, purchasing things in Ethereum. You'll be able to buy Ethereum NFTs with Soul Coin. They are really trying to expand their ecosystem, and they are pushing hard. Well, one of the biggest news to come out is that they're actually trying to build an ape marketplace specifically for the whole Yuga ecosystem that you will be able to use ApeCoin to buy NFTs with. They're offering dramatically lower fees. This is often a big complaint about OpenSea, is that they don't cap the percentage that they take, or the total dollars that they take off the top. And when you're trying to move a Bored Ape that's worth $1 million, $2 million, or like the one we just saw move for $3.9 million, that 2.5% fee adds up a lot, right? And you often, why does OpenSea need to take hundreds of thousands of dollars off this transaction to move it? You often see Bored Ape holders getting scammed because they're trying to circumvent all of those creator fees and the OpenSea fees by going kind of off on their own to facilitate these trades. Magic Eden incentivizing apes to work with them and get in there. That's going to be a big hit to OpenSea if they were to move exclusively to that marketplace. Not only because it affects people that hold apes or mutants or anything Yuga related, but people also like to go onto these marketplaces to see the stuff, right? Like people love going to see expensive things getting sold, how much these things are being listed for, looking at them, and just, I can't afford a Ferrari, but damn, I don't mind window shopping when I walk by a Ferrari dealership, right? Like this is kind of what the Bored Apes are going for. This is going to be huge for Magic Eden. And then to top it all off, they got into it on Twitter a little bit. Magic Eden put a video out explaining the difference between the Ethereum and Solana NFTs. They went on to say that Top Shot was a notable Ethereum project, Top Shot obviously being on the Flow blockchain. OpenSea responded with the SpongeBob kind of weird text saying Top Shot is a notable Ethereum project. This is what happens when you don't do your own research. And then the big winner of the whole thread, looks rare with the timeless meme. Just perfect. I wish they had gone a little bit farther and put the logos on, the faces and whatnot. It would have just added a little bit of extra flair. But this is some all-time great shit posting from these verified accounts. I'm here for it. I think it's good for the space. I think it's absolutely hysterical. And
This is a win. This is a win for Looks Rare at the end of the day. Like Looks Rare, just this meme, just
I think it goes a
such a
long way
win.
to show that like each of these different platforms have some pros and cons in what they're doing, and like options are also good, right? Like
Absolutely.
I don't know.
It's just like this single image just kind of encapsulates each one of their cultures, just like right there. It's just like the easiest way. If you want to figure out like what they're about, just look at this single tweet thread. It
It
looks like
really
just
is.
coming in like
It's
the punk kid, dude, just in the background, just ripping dabs.
yeah, absolutely. You
Which
see
is
like
great. It's just so funny.
you see OpenSea like the old guard trying to like hold on desperately to their position as number one, and then you see Magic Eden, like the new kid on the block, taking big swings at the biggest guy in the yard, and then you see Looks Rare just absolutely enjoying and laughing at all of it, and just absolutely winning with this fucking image. Like it's so good.
Well, you mentioned
It's just so
OpenSea,
good.
the old guard trying to fend off, the new kids on the block. What do they have to do? Are should they be worried?
I think they should absolutely be
They
worried.
just
I think honestly, to me, it's just a matter of time. Like I don't think they're going to be around. I think they were a great version one. I think they, have held on to their first mover position for a while. But there's like, if you just use other platforms, they're so much better. They just don't have the volume or the traffic yet. But I don't think that's going to last very long. I think that will change. I don't think OpenSea will last too much longer, especially if they go public. If they go public, it's going to go downhill fast for them, in my opinion, because they're only going to be focusing on returns and trying to please investors.
Dirty milk.
I just will never want to use another platform besides Looks Rare after this. Strictly off this.
Oh, too is this image is just too good. It's so good.
I
It's
actually
so good.
think OpenSea doesn't have to do anything. I think as much as we like to
Hot take.
complain about things, as much as we like to bitch and moan and criticize, I think sometimes people actually need that in their lives. I think people are gluttons for punishment, and using OpenSea, despite the fact that we hate it, is almost ingrained in our nature so much that we crave hating on OpenSea, and we're going to continue to use it so that we could continue to hate on it, right? Like this weird
Mhm.
symbiotic relationship. But the other thing I know is that, if OpenSea actually does pull the trigger and go public, which I'm sure that they will sometime in the next 12 months, Wall Street is hungry for as much exposure to this stuff as possible,
Mhm.
and they can't do it through governance DAO tokens, not very often, right? Like these big investment firms, but they absolutely can do it if this is a publicly traded company. I think OpenSea knows that there's going to be tons of volume on their stock price when it hits. I think OpenSea knows that people are going to continue to use it whether they care to admit it or not. I think for the Degen traders, the high volume traders, there's tons of other great options that have loyalty rewards, like Looks Rare, X2Y2, Genie, Gem, all of these things. Maybe Magic Eden really starts to take some of that out. But at the end of the day, I just don't think OpenSea gives two flying shits about this, and they will continue to do what they do, and I think that they will continue to succeed.
I mean, you have a good point, but I thoroughly disagree because the market will ultimately decide, and they still have the highest fees. And at the end of the day, the market's going to want the best product, and one of the top things the product can offer is the lowest fees. So if I can keep more money in my pocket, why wouldn't I? And I think ultimately, eventually, especially now, people are definitely penny pinching in this bear market. Maybe a little more conscious of that. So they're definitely going to want to flock to a product where they can, save more money and make more money essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see what kind of market share Robinhood has taken from everyone else, because Robinhood obviously offering the lowest fees with zero, right? Just to
Yeah,
sell the order book. But Robinhood is
true.
also going through their own problems, and their stock price is not doing well. I mean, I get what you're saying, and that makes sense. But for some reason, we are just so counterintuitive as to like what we want to say and what we want to do and what we think the world needs, and then our actual actions, right? Like,
That's fair. Ultimately, I what I think it realistically looks like, and like yes, I think there will be a place for marketplaces in the future, but I think moving forward, once things get a little more mainstream and and when the bull market actually comes back, is traders are going to start using tools to buy more than anything else. A lot of these tools have integrated buying options now.
yeah.
So you don't even need to go onto a platform. And if you are actively trading and you want to be fast, you're going to be using a tool. You're not going to try to find something on your tool and then pull up another tab to use OpenSea or LooksRare or X2Y2 or Magic Eden or one of the other ones. You're just going to buy it right then and there. And I think that will probably become more of a norm. And a marketplace will be more for, like as you said, in window shopping. People will just use it to kind of look around, but if you're actively in the space trying to make money trading or participating, I think it's going to be more people using these tools to actually buy.
I think you're onto something.
I just hope OpenSea. I just hope OpenSea, like the best thing they could do right now is continue to pick fights with the other platforms because I'm here for it, and I think it's just going
Absolutely.
to do loads for them. At least it's just giving them it just gave them a personality that they didn't have before, in my opinion.
But I mean,
That looks rare for sure had.
is it too little too late though? Because I feel like they've been so quiet for so long, so now if they try to be like the cool kids on Twitter, it's just going to be like, okay boomer, like.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
wrong.
I mean, I totally get that argument. I don't know. It's funny. It's like I don't know. I love it. I think it's funny. I love
Oh,
when
I'm here for it
brands get
too.
personalities and stuff. And I think if anything, that just if they up their Twitter presence, it's and just became like a little bit more fun.
Well, one thing's for
And
sure, they're
then
doing better than the cool cats with their hashtag Let's Joe.
yeah,
I don't need to
brutal.
rehash that.
Yeah, we're over it.
Yeah, we are over it.
Yeah.
All right, big winner looks rare. Let's move on to a absolutely gigantic NFT sale that just went down. You're not going to see it on OpenSea, as we mentioned. People often facilitate these trades through escrow or just very very secure channels to make it happen. This mutant ape sold for $3.9 million, or what was it? 24. I lost my tabs here. 2,400 ETH.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was 2,300 ETH.
Why did I lose that tab? Yeah, I'm sorry. I had that pulled up.
The trippy
2,300
mega
ETH.
mutant.
Yes. So I think that we're in consensus that this is probably all of our favorite mutant apes in the entire collection. When I saw
Absolutely.
this one get dropped, it was like immaculate to me. The colors, the movement of it. It is a really really sick ape, and it is now the biggest purchase in ETH terms in the entire Yuga ecosystem history. Now, in dollar terms, the Mega Serum in January that sold for, I think it was 1,600 ETH, was about $5.9 million at the time. So that was an absolute massive sale that went down
Insane.
then.
That's
So
insane.
in dollar terms, that still remains the biggest one. But this moved, and again, NFTs aren't dead. Somebody is dropping $4 million on a mutant ape right now, and it looks good. This is Leor.eth that bought it, part of the mutant cartel ecosystem, which I've had seen in the past, but doesn't really mean much to me. Beautiful ape, huge price tag, a lot of excitement around it. There is only one Mega Mutant Serum left. I would imagine that that is
Mm.
not going to get used for a while. I think that it will sit there for quite some time. And my gut is telling me that that serum, before it's used, will be the biggest NFT sale maybe in history, if you don't include like the Beeple auction of $69 million, which was done by a conglomerate. And I think it was a little bit of fluff in that regard. But I mean, it's incredible that this is all happening. 2,300 ETH for this is just a huge win. And I'm seeing like those last sales on those mutants of like last sale 350, last sale 335, 250. You got to be. I mean, I'm sure it was a great profit and a great win, but like you're probably not feeling good about moving those at the time, or in hindsight, rather.
in hindsight, yeah. It's I mean, like, looking at these apes right now, it's easily hands down my favorite out of all of these. It looks so good.
Are those all the megas?
Those are all the
These are all the
megas. Yeah.
megas,
Are
yeah.
those all megas? Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I mean this one, just the colors and like
Mhm.
the kind of like liquid aspect to it is just really, really
That's
sick.
great. Yeah, the artist did amazing on these.
I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
what the last one is left because these all follow the skin types. Obviously, that was the trippy ape. The gold ape was the last one that got revealed, 3,000 or sorry, 30,006, and there's one more left to be kind of serumed, whatnot.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever known which one's left.
Yeah, I'm.
I just don't follow.
You don't follow what?
Oh, sorry. I don't. I just. I feel like don't follow Bored Ape just ecosystem like super closely. Obviously, like being in the space, I probably follow it more than the average person, but it's just been one of those like out of reach projects for me. So I just didn't pay it like a
Yeah,
ton of attention for it, unless they have something
Mhm.
like juicy coming up that's gonna suck, liquidity from the market, like the other side drop or something like that. But
I would
this is
say
the first time that I'm seeing these mega apes, if I'm honest.
yeah, there's definitely a few here I haven't seen before. I didn't know they existed, but I will say, like, for what happened, like, I feel like it was pretty quiet on Twitter. Like, I follow a couple of those like big sales bots, so that's why I saw it. But like overall, I didn't see like a ton of people really talking about it, which I thought was kind of shocking considering like how big of a sale this is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why it didn't make more moves. It was pretty, pretty recently went down, and of course was facilitated privately. So I don't think it set off a lot of the sales bots and whatnot. But um, you raise an interesting point. Why isn't this making more noise? Like the CryptoPunk being sold for what was it, 2,500 ETH not too
Mhm.
long ago. Obviously, ETH was actually considerably lower than it is just even today. Maybe it's just an expectation of the board apes now. Maybe they've just reached that point where it's like another day, another huge sale for them, another day, another piece of news, and we almost just get kind of numb to all of this stuff happening,
Desensitized to it.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
like the CryptoPunk being sold was a huge deal for the simple fact that CryptoPunks have this narrative of they got flipped, they're kind of down and out. Yuga acquired them, but they're not really doing much with them. They hired a manager and a marketing team for them and whatnot, but they really just seem to be down and out. So maybe when one of those sales goes off, it really just triggers like a big reaction. Where in the board apes, it's just again just another day, another ape, right? And it's almost the same way that you get really accustomed to seeing board apes get hacked, right? Like, as unfortunate as that is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
possible.
it is true. I mean, I think I only saw like Tropo posting about it on Twitter. Like that's like really the only post that I saw about it. So it could be the private sale aspect, but yeah, I think you're right.
Could be.
Do
Yeah.
you think this is overpriced? Like, I know that sounds stupid, and
Definitely.
this is kind of the creme de la creme, but like, what does your net worth have to be like? Yeah, I'm just gonna drop 4 million on this one today.
I just for me like I don't buy like the super rare, so it's always been like I'm always like a floor nabber if I'm buying secondary and stuff like that. So I don't know how it's justified to spend that much on one. I'm sure the person who bought it is, if they're dropping it, they're less concerned than I am. If they're spending that kind of money on it, but yeah, I still struggle to understand how. If I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, in 10 years' time, ETH is at $20,000. Board apes are still killing it. NFTs are great. They're in the mainstream. People just understand that they're a part of life and why they're, important and they're the use case for all of them and whatnot. Board apes probably still at least be on the mantle of one of the top tier NFT projects. This is all speculation, but that's where I would probably see it going. Buy dirty milk. But you know, does this ape sell for 10,000 ETH then when ETH is at $20,000 each? And what's that, $200 million? Right? Like, do you see it going that high? Are there just better things that you can get it? Like, I guess my point is, you know, if he sells this again in 10 years time for 2,500 ETH, but ETH is now, 10 times the price, like what point? Like, done better things. Just a flex.
Yeah, so I was just doing some quick research. Sorry, that's why I was a little quiet. The guy who bought it is the founder of Eden Block, which is a fund. So they're investing in projects. So the dude's got money to spend. The dude is very heavily vested into the space, not just financially, but it looks like that's his career is in it. So for him, I'm sure there was a lot of thought that went behind this purchase, not just simply I want to flex, but yeah, I think I would have bought a couple rare apes over this one first.
Yeah, like if it's in terms of like the fund buying this, you would think that just sweeping the ape floor with
I don't believe it
100.
was a fund. I believe it was just him
It
on
was
his own.
him. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I guess the fund dynamic changes everything. He's clearly doing all right. Maybe he wants being behind him.
It's possible.
It is
Yeah,
super
absolutely
sick.
possible.
I will put some emphasis on that.
Yeah.
How many crypto dick butts are you buying for 2,300 ETH?
I'm
All of
just
them.
sweeping until I'm
The
gonna run
entire
out.
collection.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, guys, anything else that you want to touch on for the remainder of the show? The mic is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. We still don't forget we have the Exit Liquidity newsletter. Sign up for that one. Obviously, we only covered a few things in this episode. Just not realistic to cover everything in one episode. So if you want a little supplement, we post, we send it out 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. We cover a lot. The last few have definitely been a little stuffed. And don't miss out on those because it will keep you interested in and active in the space and learning on what's going on. So definitely sign up for that. If you go to exitliquidity.io, the link will also be in the description below. Definitely sign up and get the newsletter.
For sure.
Yeah, and it'd be cool to see. We're starting to see some old faces back in AlphaMint. So if you haven't been back in a while, the market's looking a little bit healthy. ETH's pumping, and
That's
there's a lot of stuff just kind of cooking out there. So
that's a great
Oh
point.
yeah,
see this.
I'm gonna say quick reminder too. We have the Blur beta, so AlphaMint members like go in there, drop your wallets, get the beta. The tool is amazing.
Great point by you, Dirty, as well, right? I always used to use my Telegram and WhatsApp group chats as also a market sentiment, right? When the markets were hot, uh, nonstop chatter, notifications going off. You couldn't keep up with the chat, right? And then when things start to cool off or the price starts to dip on anything, you start to slowly see those people chat less and less and less and less. And when the 2018, 2019, 2020 kind of bottom hit, they were a desolate wasteland. People weren't talking at all. And that was like the signal for me to start buying again, right? I think a lot of these Discord channels are going through the same kind of things where the volume of conversation really starts to cool off, really starts to cool off. Some excitement starts coming back in the space, and all of a sudden those people start to come back again. And that's not a criticism against them, right? Like, it can be a grind. People go and look for better opportunities. They start to spend their time doing other things, whether it's researching new projects or just maybe even, quote unquote, touching grass, going on vacation, spending time with their families and whatnot. All great stuff. But now the chats are starting to pick up again. There's starting to be some excitement. And that's got me really bullish because last time I saw that, Bitcoin ran up to $40,000. ETH went up to $5,000. NFTs started crushing it. Maybe this is just the beginning of that, and maybe it is still a couple months away. Maybe it's a year away. But I think it's a really great signal. And again, there's no criticism towards taking some time off, being silent. But yeah, people are kind of, summer's coming to an end. They're kind of poking their head out and be like, let's check back in.
It's a healthy reset for a lot of people too. Like, don't forget, like, if you wanted to be successful in NFTs, like, hold on one second. If you wanted to be successful in NFTs, you're spending, 16 to 20 hours behind a screen. Like, that's not normal. That's not healthy. So like, everyone needed a little break and a little reset. So I think people will come back with, a clearer mind and more knowledge. And I think the next bull run is going to be pretty intense for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to just apply a lot of the mistakes that I made this last bull run and just the learning experiences that I've had, and just kind of dive into this next one. So I'm stoked. excited to see all those old faces back, like in business and whatnot. That was cool.
Nice. Yes. Well, and the final thing I would say is like I'd be remiss to not mention that Dirty Milk is actually away getting married this weekend and still here doing the podcast. I think he's getting married in like 3 hours. So huge congratulations. We'll post his ETH address below if you want to send him a CryptoPunk or something as a wedding gift. You know, don't spend too much, but
What a troll.
Congratulations, Dirty Milk.
Thank you. It's been nice. I hope she comes back. I don't know where she went, but
oh, she's not there. I thought it was like
the bellman gave her this look, and she's been gone ever since. So
there we go.
Well, on that note,
yeah, guys, Exit Liquidity episode 3. Dirty Milk not actually getting married, but it's fun to say and really put him on the spot. He started blushing there a little bit. So if you're Dirty Milk's girlfriend and watching, get on it. But yeah, thank you so much for your time tuning in. Always make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help us out, if you want to support us in any kind of way. If not going to lose any sleep over it, but we appreciate the support nonetheless. And as Drip Cult said, as Dirty Milk said, some activity coming back in these Discords, including Alpha Mint. People getting a little bit excited. So make sure you hop in there. If you are not an Alpha Mint member, we will post the link to the OpenSea collection, and you can buy an Alpha Mint pass there if you want to. There's no pressure. We will always be doing this show and putting out this content for free. But if you want to come in and join the conversation in Discord in real time, it's a great time to do. So we are going to wrap it up. Drip Cult, Dirty Milk, another great episode. We'll talk to you soon. Another one.
See you guys.
Later, fam.